Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Paisley Girl and you are here at Paisley Girls and Life Garden. Today we're going to be looking a little bit into the garden, but mostly we're going to show you how to get the skins off of those tomatoes. The last summer that I grew tomatoes, I put some in the freezer and I'm just now getting to them. Yep, it's March and I'm just now getting to them. So I'm going to show you how you can peel your tomatoes very easily and can them for diced tomatoes. But first we're going to go ahead and look at some of the seedlings that have sprouted and maybe look out at the apartment garden. So the first things that we're going to look at here, as you can see, we have a red chili pepper. We also have jalapenos. And here is some of the nata pinos. Now, if anyone doesn't know what a nata pino is, it's the same as a jalapeno without the heat. My husband doesn't do very well with heat, so I like to grow those peppers for him to make sauces and such. Let's turn this fan off. Here we go. Then if you look right here, we have some banana peppers and some bell peppers. And then there's our little rabbit guardian. He looks like he's planting carrots in there. Then we have over here some Roma tomatoes, white Tomaso tomatoes, Chadwick cherry tomatoes, a couple marigolds. We got mini bell peppers, more natapinos, more chili red peppers. Over here we have purple Cherokees and Florentines and boxcar willies there in the back. So that's what we have. I've up-potted a lot of them. I'll be up-potting some more. We're also hardening off the thyme. I took it out today for 1 hour to get some sunlight and get acclimated to the temperatures outside. This is our thyme herbs. So I have 2 of those. One will go out here in the apartment garden and one will go out into the Crow garden. So I let it out for 1 hour today. I brought it in. Tomorrow I'll leave them out for 3 hours and bring them back in. Then the following day we'll leave them out up to 6 to 8 hours and then bring them back in. And then the day after that it'll be a full 24 hours outside, and then they'll be ready to transplant into the gardens. We're outside in the apartment garden now. The other day I did do a full video on some of the plantings that we did of the onions and the chives and the strawberries, but unfortunately we had technical difficulties and there was no sound, so I was just talking and you couldn't hear my voice. So I ended up scrapping that video and decided to start a new one. So a couple days ago we went ahead and planted our bunching onions. I decided to do those into a pot this year. So that pot there is a self-watering pot, and there's about 30 of them in there. So we're just waiting for those to sprout. And then the next thing that we also did the other day was our Texas yellow sweet onions. And then over here in the Dollar Tree garden planter, I did strawberries. They are the ever-bearing strawberries, so they're supposed to come up the first year, so we'll see. But on top here, let me turn you around. Right here is our chives. Then the next tier down will be our strawberries. And then, of course, our little cute little ladybug. And our parsley. Our spinaches are blooming. And our arugula. And our lettuces. So we got the rock garden done. And all of our little creatures out that we like to put in our little rock garden. And then as we go over here, go back to the onions and some more parsley. And we put our little, it's a fairy garden lamp that we found, and when we just replaced the bulb because they were burning out. But this comes on at night and it's really, really, really pretty. So with that, that is how our apartment gardening is going. And we are going to go back into the house, and I'm going to pull out the tomatoes that I grew last summer and show you those. Then we will defrost them, and I will show you how you can get the peels off very easily. So what I did was go ahead and pull the tomatoes out of the freezer that we had left over from the summer. And before I put those in there, I washed them really, really well. I took the top crown part out, and I put an X on the very bottom of the tomato. And then I just put them in the freezer. So today, once these get defrosted, I'll show you how we can skin those. And I will save the skins and dehydrate them and turn into a tomato powder for soups. But then we will be dicing them and then going ahead and putting them in the water bath. So I will show you all that as soon as they're getting done defrosting. Alright, so I have defrosted our tomatoes. They do not have to be 100% defrosted, just enough that you can work the skin off of there easily. I'm going to go ahead and bring you around here so I can show you how easy it is to peel your tomatoes. So as I said earlier, when I got these off of the vine, I took the top part off and made an X at the bottom. So now that they're defrosted, I can start at that X and gently peel away the skin. I'm going to keep the skin, as I said earlier, because I like to dehydrate it and use it for like a tomato soup base or vegetable soup base. Add some of that summery flavor in there. It's not really hard, as it would be if you wouldn't freeze it first. And there you have it. So we'll put these on the cutting board. After I get done peeling the rest of these, I will dice them up and put them in the tomato juice that I had also in the freezer that is defrosted. And I have my cans are now getting sterilized. They're going to be boiling for 30 minutes in the water so that they're nice and sterilized. I also have my lids and rings sterilizing. You don't have to do that nowadays, they say, but from my past experience with my nanny and stuff, she always did. So I think you get a better seal. So I'm just going to do it that way. Then on the back of the oven here, you will see that we have the tomato juice that I saved from over the summer as well. And that will be canned separately on its own. And then with the diced tomatoes, I will add a little bit of the juice to that too, just so that we can have it. So we'll be back shortly as soon as I get the rest of these peeled and diced up. So next, after I got them diced up, I went ahead and added them to the juice so that they can get warmed up a bit. When you are hot water bathing, you can cold water bath tomatoes. You just have to start with cold water. But because the juice is going to be hot, I went ahead and added them in there to bring them up to temperature as well. And that way when you're adding the hot liquid to the hot jars, you won't have to worry about cracking. Alright, so we have our tomatoes heated up. I went ahead and got the first jar out for the actual tomatoes. we're going to put your funnel here, and you're going to scoop out your tomatoes out of your juice. Be very careful because it's really hot. And it's okay that juice gets in there because I'm going to be putting some in there anyway. And when you cook them like this, they will not be as solid as the diced tomatoes that you cold pack. And that's okay. This all still works the same. Okay, do that, and then I'm going to use my ladle and put the rest in, and you're going to fill it up to a 1/2 inch from your rim. Down here, make sure I get it to that 1/2 inch mark. A little bit more. And then anytime you are canning tomatoes, you always want to add your lemon juice to bring the acidity level up. And you're going to put 2 tablespoons of juice per jar. And of course, people are going to ask, isn't that going to change the flavor? At first, yes. But after 4 to 6 weeks of sitting on your shelf, you'll no longer taste the lemon. You're going to then debubble. I just use a chopstick, or this is a kebab stick. You can also buy the debubblers in the stores. But this I find works just as well. Then we're going to come over and get our lid. Made a mistake. Learn from me. Get your other jar out first that you're going to be using next. That way, you can take your little funnel here and move it on over to the next jar. Now remember, this is really hot, so you want to be very careful when you're putting the lids on and the rings. Try not to touch the ring on the bottom so that you can make sure you get keep it sanitized. And I just put that on top like that. Use my nice clean rag or dish towel. And you just want to do it fingertip tight. You don't want to use your wrist. You just want to just the tip of your fingers tight. And we're going to move this over, out of the way, and continue on. I'm going to go ahead and add the lemon juice now. I don't want to forget. It's very important that you add the lemon juice so that you can bring that acidity level up, because tomatoes are considered low acidity now. Years ago they didn't, but now they do. And you're going to ladle in your tomato juice. This you can use for the base of chilies, you can use it for vegetable soups, you can use it to make your own tomato soups. And it's the same as the other tomatoes. You're going to bring it up to a 1/2 inch headspace. like this little measurement thing on this side. I'll show you here in just a minute. Let me get the other jar out. But on this side here, you can see, let me come around that way so you can see a little better. You can see here, there's measurements on the side that shows you the 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and 3/4 of an inch. That's really helpful when you're canning, so you know how much headspace that you're doing. And you know, I forgot something. That one should be okay because I already cleaned it off before I did it. You want to take vinegar, white vinegar, and put on the rims here, just to clean off that seal. I did do that one. I just forgot to show you guys that. Then I'm going to come over and get the other lid that's been soaking in the hot water. Put it on top. And your ring. Like I said, it's very important that you only do it fingertip tight. Get your seal. Move that one out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and finish filling these jars up, and then I will show you what to do next. Alright, so we got those all ready to go. I came up with 4 of the wide mouth pint quart, and then the regular small mouth for the tomatoes dices. And then we're going to move these over because the jars are hot. Be very careful. Hold on to them nice and gently. And then on here, I just kind of like tilt it a little bit. Put it in the water that I've been keeping warm. Keep it on a medium so it's not boiling, but just warm so that there isn't any much of a temperature change. Put those in there. And the last jar of the tomatoes. And then we're going to lower this down into the water very gently. And when you do lower it down into your water, make sure that the water is at least 2 inches above your jars. We're going to put the lid on. Turn that back up on high. And we're going to wait on that to come to a full rolling boil. So now that our jars are coming up and they are at a complete rolling boil, make sure you check your elevation for your canning time, because like I'm under the 1,000 feet and under, so my tomatoes will only take 35 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and set the timer for that. The higher the elevation is, I believe you add like 5 minutes per each level. So make sure you know your elevation level of where you're canning at, and look into how long you should water bath. And this will be done in about 35 minutes, and we'll come back and I will show you the finished results. it is time. Go ahead and turn the timer off, and very carefully reaching over here to turn this off. Now you do not want to immediately go and start grabbing your jars out of the water bath. It's really, really hot. You want to give it time to cool down. Usually that takes about 5 minutes. Then I will take the lid off and let it vent some of that steam out for another 5 minutes before I pull them out. And there you have it. They are all been canned. And if you have a little water on top, just gently soak it. It's not necessary. I like to do that though to prevent rusting. Love to hear that sound. That means they're sealed. I will let them sit and rest for up to 24 hours. And there they are. They will sit there and rest for the next 24 hours. And then I will remove their rings and once they have sealed, and put them in storage for our family. So thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you for coming by and hanging out. Leave a comment below if you're canning anything this week, or if you're freezing or dehydrating or fermenting or planting. Talk to me a little bit about the garden. Loving the weather outside. It's a little chillier today, but I thought it was a good day to get the canning done. So, as always, if you could like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share my channel, that would greatly help me out. I hope you have a wonderful week. I appreciate you and I love you all. Thank you so much. Bye.